Hello. It's been a minute. I know we've been busy, lots going on. Uh, been I guess consuming a lot of whiskey and bourbon content in the meantime, and honestly, I've been consuming a fair amount of bourbon too. So don't judge me. In fact, today I wanted to do a little bit of a video on some recent bottle kills. So I didn't mean to, but I kept some of these empty bottles laying around. Actually, I used to collect empty bottles uh, not that long ago. So this is actually not all that uncharacteristic. But I thought I'd go through some recent bottle kills, tell you a little bit about them, at least my memory of those bottles. Um, and I guess there's still a little in this one. So if we're talking about bourbon, I guess it only makes sense to maybe have a pour while we're going through this. So we'll finish this bottle off live, or at least live to me, and as you're enjoying this. But this bottle, I enjoyed this one a great deal. This is, and I've talked about this a time or two in past videos. So this is an Old Forester single barrel strength. I got this down in Louisville, Kentucky. For what it's worth, it's from Warehouse L43. The proof on this one, it's hefty. It's a 131.1 proof. I like this one a whole bunch. It's a little bit hard to find, and when you do find it, it's going to be a little bit pricey. I can't remember exactly what I paid for this, but I believe it was north of $100. So, is it worth $100? That's all up to the individual. I'm an Old Forester fan, and specifically I like the 1920. I like quite a few of their other products too, so I had to try it, and I'm glad I bought it. The tasting notes on this one, to me, it had a almost, well, I'll just jog my memory. Almost like a real, I don't want to say medicinal cherry, but there's definitely a strong cherry, and maybe it is medicinal cherry. And it's got a lot of heat. That proof does come through. But the nose, the taste, the flavor, everything about this is really fantastic. So, and at the same time, I don't think it tastes too much like the 1920, and it doesn't really remind me of a lot of the quintessential Old Forester products. But this is a recent kill. Actually, I'll be killing it with you today. Let's talk about the next one. Next one, Larceny. This is a barrel proof. This is batch C921. Proof on this one was 122.6. And I know I've seen a lot of folks talk about these Larceny barrel proofs in the past. This is a wheated bourbon. I know there's something to the whole formula batch number C921. I believe that means it came out in September 21, and I think it's from Rickhouse C. I'm not super schooled on these sorts of things, so if you know what the batch number C921, what that all means, let me know. I'd love to learn a little bit about this, but my understanding is Larceny, and I think a lot of the other distillers as well. This is from Heaven Hill. They come out with these every so often, several times throughout the year. My wife and I are, my wife more so than me, I don't mind it, but a big regular Larceny fan. I would say she likes wheated bourbons a fair amount. This one, I think, does have a lot of similarities to that Larceny. It's got the sweet notes, but it does have the kick. I mean, it's 122.6 proof, so it does have that kick. And I personally, my flavor profile, I do, and you'll probably notice, at least with these two, they're both single barrels, and this one's barrel proof, and I believe actually this one is too. Barrel strength, yeah. So I prefer the higher proof. I like the single barrel stuff. I think, in my opinion, I can get a bottle that's barrel proof, single barrel. It's going to have a little bit more of a unique flavor profile, maybe, than the larger batches. But teach their own. I like this. I'm going to try to learn a little bit more. Hopefully, you all can leave a comment and educate me on this. But the different batches throughout the year. Again, this is a 21. And these are, you can find these, the barrel proof Larceny. They're not crazy difficult to find. And memory serves, I don't think they're crazy on the price. I think memory serves, they're around $60. Again, I could be wrong. But while I'm speaking of comments, I want to remind you all to give a big old thumbs up. And if you haven't done so already, go ahead and subscribe. We try to put out content, bourbon content, whiskey content, a fair amount. I'm a little behind on that for sure. But, we've got a couple other things going on. We've got, some vacation home in South Carolina that we try to put some content there from time to time. I do some mindset work from time to time. Also getting ready to launch a new vacation destination here soon, so be on the lookout for that. But I'd love you just to have you chime in and leave a comment and subscribe and all those sorts of things. So anyway, thank you for tuning in today. Again, I would definitely get this again. So far, these are both things I would get again. The next one, let's talk about this. Widow Jane, aged 10 years in New American Oak barrels. This is batch number 378, bottle 383, and the date is 2021. 91 proof, lower on this one. And, I love kind of the simplistic label, nothing super fancy, but it's got some good information. Pure limestone mineral water from the legendary Rosendale Mines of New York. And it's a blend of straight bourbon. So I don't know a ton about these. Tells me it's from New York. So I think if memory serves, or as far as I know anyway, it's probably the first whiskey I've ever had that hails from the state of New York. I had this a long time. When I first started getting into, being more of a collector consumer, if you will, the little mom and pop liquor store near me in Paragon, Indiana, they had this on the shelf. I'd seen some videos, some other people who taste bourbons talk about this. They always talked about how much they liked it. So I'm like, let's give it a go. And again, I don't think the price on this was crazy. I don't remember. I don't even want to throw it out there. But this is buttery smooth. It is low proof, certainly compared to these other two. But it is a nice drink. I liked it a whole bunch. So I know there's a couple other Widow Jane products. And like I said, if memory serves, the price wasn't crazy, especially for the 10-year age statement on that. Moving right along, this one, I'm kind of a sucker for a bottle at times, and this is one of those bottles that I like it. I think the first time I saw this bottle, this is I think I was watching a Joe Rogan or a podcast or something, and I saw this sitting there like, that is cool. So much so that I think if I dug not too deep, I have another one of these, and I think I also have the rye of this as well. We killed this bottle recently. A good friend of mine, Larry Weems. So Larry, hopefully you're watching, and love to have you chime in on this. But we're having a bonfire on the backyard one night, and as good friends do, he brought over a bottle of bourbon, and we enjoyed that. And he had a story about this, something about where this is distilled. And I believe this is a Chicago, Illinois product. What did I tell you about it? It's 100 proof, straight bourbon whiskey, bottled in bond. So that tells me something about this one as well. Bottled in bond means that it's been in a government-controlled or under certain conditions in the aging process. And I believe the bottled in bond means it has to be 100 proof, and it has to be aged for 4 years. And I believe that it all has to come from the same season. When they distill the product and all that sort of thing, it all has to be in the same season or something like that. There's specific rules to bottled in bond. And a couple of folks that I watch that do tastings and whatnot, they actually kind of prefer the bottled in bond because it's sort of a benchmark. There's certain conditions and criteria that need to be met in order to be bottled in bond. And so it's not a guarantee that what's inside is great as far as the flavor is concerned, but it does tell you that that the process to get there was semi-regimented in that nature. So generally, chances are, if you buy something that's bottled in bond, it's got the age, it's 100 proof, and you hope that it's going to be a good taste while you're at it. But the story about this that my friend Larry told me, and I haven't looked into it again, but something about where this is distilled, The location used to belong to a teetotaler back in the day, someone that was against the alcohol. I think this person was part of the prohibition movement and that sort of thing. So I guess they're kind of paying homage to that person. And again, this could be urban legend. I don't know, but this was really good. I think some of the flavor notes that stick out. It did have a little bit of an oaky taste that I recall, but it's just a good sipper. That 100 proof point is nice. All of these are really good bottles. The last one that I'm going to talk about today on my recent bottle kill episode is this one. Penelope Architect Straight Bourbon Whiskey, and this one's finished with French oak staves. This is 104 proof. The cool thing, one of the cool things about this bottle too, is it has the flavor profile on the back. And I've got these books, and I ordered these. I think I got one here handy. I ordered a bunch of these a while back. They weren't that expensive, and I'd love to send these to people. I got a box full of them. So if you want one of these, just drop me a note, send me a comment, say, yeah, I want one of these things. But it's got pages where you can keep your tasting notes for all the things that you're drinking. And I should be better at doing that myself from time to time. But let's talk about this Penelope bottle. I have seen a lot of folks review this Penelope Architect. And I remember the first time that I got to taste it, we were down in Bardstown. And we were at the Bardstown, or the Talbot Inn, or Talbot Tavern, or something like that. The main, old the spot you go to when you go to Bardstown, and they have quite the selection. Of course, many folks, I think, flock to Bardstown. I think that Bardstown's claim to fame is that they're the bourbon capital of the world. I'm not going to dispute that, but they had some of this Penelope Architect on their shelf, and that's the first time I tried it, and I loved it. It's so good. It's buttery, it's smooth. I mean, according to their flavor profile, it's got oak on the nose, it's got vanilla, it's spicy, it's toasted, there's fruit on the palate, it's got structure, oak integration, persistency, fruit. It's just fruit on the nose. Kind of gives you the map here. And this is build number 6 for what that's worth. And it was aged 4 years. It's all of those things. But it is I would say, again, a buttery, smooth drink. Like this Widow Jane and this Penelope Architect, they remind me a fair amount of one another. And I just really enjoyed this. And the challenge with Penelope Architect for me until real recently is that I couldn't find it in my area. And then good old Paragon Liquor Store delivered once again. They had an update on their Facebook page a couple months ago, or a month ago, or whatever it was. And they said they had it on the shelf. So I made a trip there one day, and they had 2 bottles, and I bought them both. And we killed this bottle pretty quickly. I shared with friends and enjoyed it. And the price on this, I think it was like $55, sub 60 or right around 60. So for me, right in that sweet spot, I find that what I like to drink, the flavors, the proof, the single barrels, things of that nature, the barrel strength, generally the things that I enjoy the most seem to be right in that $60-ish price point, $50 to $60 price point. And this is right there in that sweet spot. So I did buy both the bottles, and we killed one within, pretty quickly, within maybe a few weekends. We dipped into the second one, and then I was just out the other day, and actually I stopped at my other favorite liquor stores, and this is the Bob O'Link liquor store in Edinburgh. And you can probably see it. I grabbed 2 more Penelopes. I grabbed another Architect, and I grabbed a different Penelope that I'll be looking to try here before too long. Now, the thing about Penelope, and I know Old Forester makes their own, Larceny, Seven Hill. Don't know that much about Widow Jane, but my belief is that this is, I can read their bottle. I think they make their own stuff. A few, I think they make their own stuff. Penelope is MGP. And I think sometimes when you see others talk about bourbons and whiskeys, the source bourbons is sort of it's sort of a mixed bag. Some people um, are okay with it. Other people just like automatically seem like they turn up their nose. They're like, oh, that's MGP. Well, okay, maybe it is MGP, and to me, it was fantastic. I don't think all MG products are the same by any stretch. And the other thing that interesting that I read recently is that MGP actually acquired Penelope. So at least from what I've tasted from the architect, that's probably a good move. And that's a good brand to tie your product to is the Penelope. So I'm sure there would be more news developing on that in the not too distant future. But anyway, wanted to share recent bottle kills. These are all buy again for me, 100%. Hope I find this one. This one's the hardest to find. The rest of these are pretty easy to find, honestly. Not too bad. So anyway, what are your thoughts? Anything that you'd like to recommend? Anything that you'd like to say? Anything that I messed up or misstated? Let me know in the comments below. And enjoy your bourbon and your whiskey. And I hope you all are doing fantastically well. Until next time.